Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Kinstretch with the Fitness Alchemists. Today we're going to be focusing in on the spine and the knee, and particularly this whole swath of tissue that supports the inner knee, connecting from the midfoot all the way up to the groin. So that'll be pretty juicy. Let's begin warming up our whole spine. So you can come into a comfortable quadruped position, hands and knees. And nothing fancy here, just round out your back as much as you can. And then we're going to take some deep breaths here. Big breath in, try to feel your ribs expand. And as you exhale, see if you can hollow the front of your body, actively finding muscles that contract along the front to open up a little bit more space and opportunity to lengthen along the back. And do that a few times here. Deep, full, big breath in, as big as you can without losing your shape. And then exhaling to hollow, round, contract anything more on the front side of your body to help actively lengthen the back side of your body. Take one more breath like that. Beautiful. And then stay round and try to actively round the spine that's between your shoulder blades a little more. You can push into the ground to facilitate this, really spread your shoulder blades wide. Keep that part of you round for as long as you can. And down at your tailbone, you're going to start to reverse the motion. So you're going to poke your tailbone up to the ceiling, feel your belt buckle start to reach towards the floor, then your belly button starts to reach towards the floor, then your lowest ribs, then your t-shirt logo. Finally, your collarbones start to come through your arms. Neck starts to come up, and eventually the face comes up. You'll be looking ahead of you, maybe looking at us. And then stay here, take a breath, see if you can really open up those collarbones anymore. Imagine I've super glued your hands, knees, and toes to the floor. Hands are going to shove the floor forward while the knees and toes shove the floor back. And then through that tension, tuck your tail under and start to round, scooping your belt buckle away from the floor, then your belly button, then your lowest ribs, then the t-shirt logo area. Finally, the collarbones start to round and hollow up, and then chin tucks into the chest. Good. Stay here. Hands, knees, toes are still super glued. Now they're going to pinch in. So knees towards hands, hands towards knees, and poke your tailbone up to the ceiling. Feel your belt buckle reach towards the floor. Belly button reaches towards the floor. Lowest ribs reach towards the floor. T-shirt logo starts to reach towards the floor until eventually the collarbones come up through the arms. Throat comes up, face comes up. Take a breath just in case you weren't breathing. Hands, knees, toes are still super glued. Now the hands push forward, knees, toes push back. Tuck your tail under, rounding through that tension. Slowly working your way up through the spine, ideally breathing throughout. But if you catch yourself not breathing, that's okay. Just take a new one. Beautiful. Stay round. Hands push forward, knees, toes push back, but they're super glued so nobody moves. And then poke your tailbone up to the ceiling. Start to reach belt buckle towards the floor, belly button towards the floor. Working your way through one at a time. Coming into your full spinal extension. Excellent. Leave that there. We'll come back to some spine stuff. We're going to zoom in on the knee for a little bit. So knees bend and extend, but a really essential function of them is that they rotate. We've talked to you about this before. Today we're really going to get into how to increase that rotation if you are missing some that you need. So really quickly, grab a seat, and if you need to feel like you can be supported with your back against a wall or something, set yourself up there. We want to identify two landmarks here. So Will's going to draw a little Sharpie X. You can just place your finger, as you figured out, right on the bottom curve of the kneecap. Right in the middle. You're going to feel a little rounded, curved edge there. You're going to place your finger there. Will's going to draw his X. And then if you take your other finger and slide down from there, you'll feel a little valley, and then you'll feel a new bump or rise of bone. That's your tibial tuberosity, or the top of your shin bone. and that's where we're going to draw our other X. And as we start to explore rotation of the knee, we're looking for how much can I rotate that lower X, the tibial tuberosity, relative to the still point of my upper, be gone with you, Sharpie, we're done, of that top, what's this one called?
Patella.
Patella. Words are hard sometimes. Good. So we'll try a few of these together. Find your landmarks, bottom of the patella, down the valley, find that tibial tuberosity. Dig your heel into the floor to create a little bit more muscular engagement and tension through the back of the leg, and particularly the back of the thigh. And then start to rotate your shin bone as much as you can in one direction, whichever one you picked is great. And then rotate your shin bone as much as you can in that opposite direction, keeping your fingertips lightly touching those two landmarks and noticing that they do in fact move relative to one another. Might not be a whole lot. This is one of the subtler movements if you haven't been training it, and a lot of times we have less as we move internal than we do as we move external. It's fairly common in most people that we assess. Good. And now take that same leg and just slide the heel further away from you. So you still have a bend in your knee, but slightly less. Again, I'd like you to dig your heel into the floor and try to drag a trench back towards your butt. So again, we're trying to wake up and activate all of the muscles that would bend the knee, calf stuff, hamstring stuff. And then once again, start to find that rotation of the shin bone relative to the thigh bone. And this time, once you've rotated as much as you can in one direction, hold there and fight for more for 3, 2, 1. And then rotate in the opposite direction, find your end and fight for more for 3, 2, 1. Keep alternating sides, having that nice 3, 2, 1 fight for more moment. You can work at your own pace here. We've got you on the clock. And I'd like you to keep checking in, am I digging my heel into the floor consistently, even as I rotate to transition between sides? Again, if you're new to this work, it might be hard to feel that. As you get more of your tissue turned on, strong, online, you're going to feel more ability to do that. Nice. Wherever you are, let that go. So now we're going to pull the heel in as close as you comfortably can to your butt. So we're getting as much knee flexion as you comfortably can from this position. It's a little harder to feel the heel dig and drag from this close position. So what I'd like you to focus on instead is that you're planting your heel down into the floor, like you're trying to drive a thumbtack into the ground with your heel, or like you're getting ready to stand up on that leg. And then if you're able to, you can see Will has his other shin tucked behind the heel. That can be another place where this leg can be a solid object, and then the leg that we're working can pull against it. So if that's accessible to you, use it. But if not, work on that dig into the floor. That's the biggest piece. And then we're going to do that same rotation. So rotate as far as you can in one direction and pause there, fight for more. 3, 2, 1, and then rotate as far as you can in the opposite direction. Pause there, fight for more. 3, 2, 1. Keep driving your heel into the ground as you alternate sides, having that 3, 2, 1, fight for more moment, but otherwise working at your own pace. And again, if you need to here, you can lean back, get your back supported, and then the hands might be free and they can be some extra tactile cueing on the thigh. Give me one more in each direction, please, with that beautiful fight for more moment on either side. Waking up some of the muscles that control knee rotation. We're going to train those suckers today. Upgrade your knees. Yes, lovely. All right, send that leg away. Whoa, look at that. It's like we prepared for this class. We've got our new side, so find that kind of middle ground. If you're familiar with doing these heel dig tibial rotations with me, it'll probably be where you usually do them from. Plant your heel into the floor and feel like you're dragging a trench back towards your heels. and then rotate that shin bone as much as you can relative to the thigh bone and squeeze for more. 3, 2, 1. Keep digging your heel as you rotate over to the other side. Dig and fight for more. 3, 2, 1. Keep digging the heel as you switch. Find your end. Fight for more. 3, 2, 1. Dig. Find your end. Fight for more. 3, 2, 1. One more each side. Dig. Find your end. Fight for more. 3, 2, 1. Nice job. Dig. Find your end. Fight for more. 3, 2, 1. Good. Slide that heel a little further away from you such that you still have a bend in your knee, but much less. Again, plant your heel heavy into the floor and then use that heaviness to feel like you're trying to drag the floor back towards your butt, and rotate your shin bone as much as you can in one direction. Might be quite less motion at this long line of the T. 3, 2, 1, and then rotate in the opposite direction. Fight for more. 3, 2, 1. Keep alternating sides, finding that 3, 2, 1, fight for more moment, and just noticing that your range for rotation is probably different at this knee angle than it was at our first knee angle. The closer we get to full knee extension or straight knee, generally the less rotational capacity we have. Once we're all the way straight, theoretically there's no rotational capacity. Nice. Yes, yes, yes. Good, let that go. And then last one, you're gonna bring your heel as close in as you can to your butt, getting as much knee flexion as you can. Again, if you're leaning back, you can be comfortable here, hands can be on the thigh. Plant that heel really heavy into the floor. You can imagine you've got a $1,000 bill under your heel and it's a super windy day. Just plant that sucker down and then rotate that shin bone as much as you can in one direction. Fight for more. 3, 2, 1. Rotate as much as you can in the opposite direction. Fight for more. 3, 2, 1. Keep alternating sides, finding your end of rotation, and that's where you have that fight for more moment. You're on the clock. Keep alternating sides. Try to keep your heel planted, heavy, driving down into the floor so that you keep all of that hamstring tissue alive and part of this exercise. Very nice. Make sure you're breathing. Friends don't let friends not breathe. Good. One more on each side. Good. And let that go. Very nice. Okay, we're going to come back to our first leg. And we're going to now work on ways to increase the amount of internal rotation that's available to us with some pails and rails. Now, pails and rails for rotation is a little tricky, right? Because there's not much to see. So keep an eye on us for a moment. What we're going to do in a second together is we're going to wind up as much internal rotation as we can get of that tibia. We're going to give you a couple different strategies for how to block the foot in that position. When you pails, you're going to try to unwind towards external rotation, but whatever's holding you steady will be too strong and nothing will happen, but you're going to try. When you rails, you're going to try to get more internal rotation. Probably nothing will happen, but you might feel really more stuff lighting up in that medial knee area, potentially down into the shin as well. You might get some bonus hip sensations going on. So, options here. Wind up that internal rotation. If you can, you're going to grab with your same side hand. This is nice because your upper arm can be a block to push your knee outward, which can help even wind up a little more of that internal rotation, and then the hand is keeping the foot rotated inward. If that is inaccessible to you, again, you can have a lean back against something, wind up as much internal rotation as you can, and then use your other leg or your other foot to create that block. And then the hands again are available to give you a little more awareness of the thigh not moving, or to even give a little bit of that push of your thigh outward to help bias even more end range internal rotation. So take a moment to camp out in your spot that gives you the best leverage. We're going to be here for 3 short sets of pails and rails. Trying to pails and rails, that rotational stuff. So make sure you're picking a position that's going to feel comfortable, stable, and where you can generate some power for you. Wind up your internal rotation. Set up your block. And then take a couple of breaths here. Encouraging those deep tissues of the knee to melt and encouraging your shin bone to rotate inward any more if it's willing. And again, if you've got a place to put some leverage on your thigh bone, I'll show the other option here. You can start levering your thigh bone away from center to help wind up a little bit more. All right, deep breath in, pack some air down into your abdominals. Start trying to rotate your shin bone towards external rotation, but your blocks are in the way, and gradually ramp that up to a 20% effort. Good, and then slowly, gradually ramp that up from 20% to 50% of your possible effort. Keep thinking rotate, rotate, rotate. Hold that 50% effort for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stay tense in your body and just switch the rotational effort. Now you're trying to wind that shin bone internal. You're trying to get your foot of the leg that you're working to move away from whatever is blocking it in place, be it your leg, ankle, or hand. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. If your lower leg did in fact move into more internal rotation, you want to capture that new range so that our next set of pails and rails is going to be even closer to the true end range that you have there. So set yourself up, take a deep breath, pack some air into your abdominals, and then start trying to externally rotate the shin bone, ramping up gradually to 20%, and then gradually ramping up from 20% to 50%. Hold there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reverse that rotational effort. Trying to get more internal rotation. You can also see about digging your heel and pulling it towards you. That might fire up a little bit more of those 5, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. Last set. Deep breath in, pack some air down, start to try to externally rotate gently at first, gradually ramping up to 20%, ramping up, hitting every number in between 20 and 50, 21, 22, 23, like a dimmer switch, moving up. Once you get that 50%, hold there. And now this is our last set, so if you want to give it a little more juice and ramp above 50%, go for it. If 50% feels like a nice, strong effort for you, I'm going to have you stay there. Find your working effort and hold for 5, 4, yeah, 3, nice, Will, 2, 1, and then switch, internally rotate. Wah! 5, you got it. 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax, stay in position. Try to leave your knee roughly at that same angle, but take all your blocks away. And then just take yourself through a few of those active tibial rotations. And notice, are there new sensations that you're aware of? Maybe more muscles participating that you can feel turning on. You might run into some fatigue. This is also a capsule car for the knee, so we are saving and uploading our work from the pails and rails. Yes, good. Capsule cars, they're not just for fun. That's a Kinstretch joke. Okay, all right, so second side, wind up maximal internal rotation of that shin bone, and then find a way to block your position, either reaching with the hand, or if you need a little support for your back and your foot feels really far away, using your other foot or other leg to pin you in position. And then again, you can press your thigh bone away from center to bias a little bit more end range internal rotation of that shin bone. Take a deep and cleansing breath. Good. And just take a quick scan for any unnecessary tension. Are your shoulders jumping up to your ears? Is your jaw clenching? Try to let any of that go so that we can put our focus and our effort and harness most of our nervous system to the task at hand. Start very gently, trying to externally rotate your shin bone from that internally rotated position and start to gradually ramp that up, 20%. And then making your way up from 20% to 50%, slowly, gradually stepping your way up. Hold that 50% effort for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then internally rotate as much as you can. You probably won't experience much movement here if you are truly at end range, but you're going to try, fight for more. 3, 2, 1, and then slowly relax. You may have moved because sometimes that first pales effort will bypass our stretch reflex and we'll realize that we have a little bit more passive range than we thought. So if you did get some movement, reset your blocks to make sure you're keeping yourself in that new position. And then round 2, start very gently trying to externally rotate, ramping up to 20%. Good. And then gradually making your way up from 20% to 50%. Visualize that effort rising, or visualize a nice round dial turning up. Hold at 50% for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Internally rotate, fight for it, dig that heel into the ground. Think big toe side of the foot, trying to move closer to the floor. 3, 2, 1. Slowly fade that away. Last set. Deep breath in. Pack some air down, feel tension in your belly just to support your work, and then start to externally rotate, or attempt to externally rotate, ramping up to 20%. From 20%, make your way up to 50%. Take your time. And then this is our last set. If you want to ramp higher than 50%, go for it, or just camp out at 50% with me. Hold and maintain. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reverse the rotation. Rotate, rotate, rotate. Dig that heel in. 5, 4, 3, 2. Stay in position 1. Slowly relax that effort. Take away the blocks that have been holding in place. But try to keep that same angle of your knee, and then just gently, might get some sounds, might feel a little gnarly coming out of that position. Rinse, a little capsular rinse with our capsule cars here, and saving and uploading the work, helping our nervous system understand what we've just communicated to the tissues, which is that they can be strong in a longer position than they're used to, and they can express strength in a shorter position than they're used to. That we can adequately and actively use. I wanted to say actively, but adequately jumped out of my mouth, so I went with it. All right, fabulous. Okay, we'll come back to that idea, but we're going to do a little more spine work. So we'll come back to our quadruped position. Yes, protect the mats, the precious mats. I'm going to have Will be a little oblique to the camera here, and then you're going to take one leg and stick it out to the side. And I want you to do your best to have your heel of that leg be in line with the knee of the other leg. We're going to hunt for a little stretch through that inner thigh tissue. Anything from your knee up into your groin is fair game. I'd like you to find a pleasant stretch. And then imagine I've slid, again, like that $1,000 bill underneath Will's foot or your foot. You're going to put a little bit of pressure down to keep that under there. just imagine it's a gentle breeze. It's not a galing wind, right? So just a gentle pressure to keep that in place, which should feel like it gently engages that stretching inner thigh stuff. So we've got a light pales action there. Then we're going to do a miniature cat-cow just from your belly button down to your tailbone. Try to round, tuck your tail under, rounding the territory between your tailbone and your belly button, and then arch from tail up to belly button. Good, you're on the clock for this one as well. As you round and arch through just your low back or your lumbar spine and pelvis, see how consistent you can be with your pressure of the foot into the floor. You're halfway, you're doing great. Keep breathing. And notice how that line of tension or stretch through your inner thigh changes as the orientation of your pelvis changes. 3, 2, 1. Great. Pull that leg in. Give your wrist a little break if you need to. And then set yourself up for the other side. Again, lining up your heel directly across from the opposite knee and feeling the inner edge of your foot, the big toe side of your foot, heavy into the floor, trapping an important document under that foot. And then start to tuck your tail under and round just until you reach your belly button. Nice. And then lift your tail feathers and find an arch just until you reach your belly button, keeping that consistent pressure of the foot into the floor, lighting up that inner thigh stretch. Nice, team. Find your own pace here. You're on the clock. No need to count reps. Keep breathing. Keep searching for more clear articulation of the low back. This is not an area that we generally have a lot of articulation or awareness for. So especially if this is your first time asking for specific movement in that area, if it feels like, what are you talking about, Hannah? That's normal. You're going to build up that awareness as you go. So don't worry. Asking is the first step. 3, 2, 1. Good. Pull that in. Nice. Okay. So then we're going to get into a little bit more work for the regressive tissue, or the stuff that brings you into that internally rotated position. And we're going to start to connect the dots from the foot all the way up through the inner knee, all the way up through to the inner thigh. So we're going to come back to our seated position. And this one, I'd love for you to just watch for a second the setup, and then I'll talk you through it together, because there's a few pieces here. So what we want to do is rotate to as much internal rotation as we can get. And then we're going to fix the shin in that position, and we're going to work on getting more by actually moving the thigh relative to that fixed shin bone position. So you'll wind up as much internal rotation as you can. I'm going to have you plant that whole footprint on the floor, so the knee will come with it, but we've preserved this rotational angle. And then you're going to really keep your big toe joint anchored to the floor, as well as the heel, and the movement will be to push the thigh away from the floor. Any amount, won't be a huge movement, and then bring it back. So you will get a little bit of movement through this midfoot. We want that. What I don't want to see, do one where you lose contact with the inner, we don't want to lose contact with that big toe joint. So this part will have to stay steady, and then you're going to get as much push as you can. All right. So we'll show that a little bit from the side. So all together now, wind up internal rotation of that shin bone, and then keep that and just tilt your thigh until your foot comes into contact with the floor. Really anchor down your big toe and your big toe joint. And then take a deep breath in, brace your midsection, brace your arms in some fashion that feels solid for you, and then start to push your inner knee away from the floor, any amount, and then bring it back with just as much control. You're on the clock for this. Everyone's going to have different range. Yep, keep working here. But you might potentially feel muscles contracting in the mid-foot, potentially all the way up the inside of that shin, definitely in this medial knee area, potentially traveling all the way into inner thigh and groin territory. Good. We're going to do a couple more here. As you do this, not only do I want you to plant the big toe joint, but I want you to think that you're trying to scoop the floor towards you with that big toe point of contact. Like I've super glued your big toe to the floor and you're trying to scoop the floor in towards your chest. Last 3, 2, 1, and relax. Spicy?
Very.
Yeah.
This also comes in more.
Yeah, all right. Other side. So first things first, wind up as much internal rotation as you can with that shin bone. Let me get out of your way. And then plant the inner foot by bringing your thigh forward towards the ground so you preserve that angle. Really plant the big toe mound. Get nice and solid. Yeah, there we go. I don't like not being able to touch the parts I'm talking about, apparently. Plant that big toe joint. Deep breath in. Create some good tension through your midsection, and then start to push the knee away from the floor. Find your end, fight for more, and then slowly bring it back. Good. The more tension you can build up in your upper body, the more help you're going to send to these tissues that are trying to work hard in a very untrained range for them. Keep finding your own pace here. Beautiful. And now add this idea. Not only are you making your big toe joint heavy, but as you get to your end range, you can't push your knee any further. You're trying to scoop the floor towards you with your big toe joint. 7 seconds. Get a couple more reps in. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Fantastico. Okay, come back to your quadruped position. Stick that one leg out to the side. We're just going to repeat those 2 exercises. Find your inner thigh stretch on the straight leg. Make the inside of your foot heavy to the floor, and then start to tuck your tail under and round just your low back from the tailbone up to the belly button, and then arch just your low back from the tailbone up to the belly button. You're on the clock. Keep finding your own pace here. Heavy inner foot on that straight leg. You're actively engaging that long stretching line of inner thigh stuff. And then tucking your tail, trying to feel as much articulation as you can between tailbone and belly button into the round shape. And then as much articulation as you can between tailbone to belly button into the arch shape. Good, let that go. Switch legs. Sticking your new leg out to the side. Make the inner edge of your foot heavy. Find a stretch through your inner thigh stuff. Feel like it's gently engaged with your foot pressing into the floor. And then start articulating your spine. Tuck your tail and round. And then lift your tail and arch. Beautiful. You are on the clock. All you need to do here is focus in on that sensation of engaged stretch through your inner thigh. Heavy big toe side of the foot. And then finding as much articulation as you can between your tailbone and your belly button. Theoretically, there's multiple vertebrae in there that can move independently. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let that go. Great. We're going to get one more set in of our regressive work. So grab your seated position. Wind up as much internal rotation as you can. There we go. Of the shin bone. And then keep that, freeze frame it, and just tilt your thigh towards the floor until your foot gets into full contact with the ground. Plant that big toe joint down. Brace your upper body and start to push your knee away from the floor. Find your end, fight for more, and then slowly bring it back. You're on the clock for these as well. Find your end, fight for more, Try to scoop your big toe, pull the floor towards you, and then bring it on back. Yeah, nicely. You got it, team. Last 10 seconds, you can get a couple more in. Big toe joint heavy. Scoop the floor towards you. And relax. Feeling some foot arch?
Big time.
Do you even foot arch, bro? All right, wind up as much internal rotation as you can actively get. And then freeze frame that and bring your thigh towards the floor until you've got full contact through your foot. Anchor that big toe joint down and big toe pad as well. Brace your upper body and push your knee away from the floor. Find your end, fight for more. And then bring it back with control. Big toe even heavier. Push your knee away from the floor. Try to use that heavy big toe to scoop and drag the floor towards you. And then bring it on back. Nice. Keep working, you got 15 seconds left. Building healthier knees. 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. Fantastic. Okay, last thing, we're just gonna train a little more that inner thigh line. Coming in now, bringing the work from our foot into our knee, into our hip more specifically. So you're gonna come into a side frame position. Bottom leg is straight and as best you can in line with your torso. And then your top foot is gonna come in front of that leg in some fashion that feels comfortable to you. If you can, I'd love for you to pull your heel up close to your thigh. One of the things that'll cheat in this one is that your bottom leg will try to drift forward as we lift. We're not really interested in that change. We're trying to train that inner thigh tissue. So if you can get your foot close to you, great. If not, don't worry about it. Just try to monitor that as best you can. Brace your upper body. Press your bottom arm into the floor. Try to scoop your bottom ribs up away from the floor. Stretch your bottom leg long and straight, and then try to lift that whole leg off the ground. You might lose contact maybe from the knee down, and then gently set down. Now, if you got zero lift at all, but you felt a contraction through your inner thigh stuff, I'm happy. Yeah, you're training the right tissue. You don't need to change anything. If you didn't feel any contraction and you didn't get any lift, try lying all the way down onto your side. It might be a little easier to lift. We really want to find a place where you can get a good solid contraction through your inner thigh stuff, ideally all the way from the groin to the inner edge of the knee. So find that position that's right for you. If you got a ton of lift, you could prop yourself up on a full straight kickstand if you've got a lot of range there. We want you working close to your end range. All right, we're going to do 4 lift-offs with a 3, 2, 1 hold. Brace yourself. Lift as high as you can. Hold and fight for more. 3, 2, 1. Slowly come down to just tap the floor and come right back up. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Slowly release down and come right back up. Higher than last time. Hold. Fight for more. 3, 2, 1. Slowly come down. Keep reaching that heel away from you. Leg is getting longer. Hold. Last one. 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax it to the floor. Zowie. I think it deserved that word.
Zowie.
Nice work. Will's shaking over here in case you're not catching that on camera. Kimura. Okay, stretch your bottom leg straight. I was listening to a podcast with wonderful New Zealand accents, and so now a few of those sounds are sneaking into my world. All right, stretch your bottom leg straight. Brace your upper body. Again, our first rep is going to be a little diagnostic, and then we'll adjust. Stretch that bottom leg as long as you can, and then try to hover it off the floor. Hold, maybe feel some inner thigh stuff, and return back down. And again, check. If you got lots of lift, prop your torso up higher. If you got no lift and no sensation, bring your torso down to the ground. We've got 4 more to go. Here we go. Brace your midsection. Push your bottom ribs up away from the floor. Stretch your bottom leg long and lift. Hold whatever you get. Fight for more. 3, 2, 1. Parachute back down to the ground and then come right back up. Keep your body on tension. Hold and fight for more. 3, 2, 1. Slowly return. 2 more. Lift up and fight for more. 3, 2, 1. Slow down. Last one, best one. Come on. 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax it back down. All right. Fabulous. Thank you so much for taking some time to upgrade your knee stuff with us today. I am excited to hear how this class felt for you. Please shoot us a comment. We'd love to hear from you.